everyone, welcome back to Tech Talk. I'm Juliette Beauchamp. I am here with senior writer for Computer World, Lucas Mirian, as well as video editor Chris Hebert. He's behind the camera.
How's it going?
2020 is supposed to be the year of 5G. There's going to be plenty of use cases for it, but right now, let's talk semi-autonomous vehicles. Stick around. So, Lucas, you covered semi-autonomous vehicles quite a bit a few years back, right?
Yes.
So I want to know, what was the hype like a few years ago? Because now it seems like that tech is really being
implemented.
Implemented, that's the word.
It's a long word, multisyllabus, yeah. It's a lot like, I hate to make this comparison, but it's a lot like blockchain. There was a hype cycle for a while. It's all very real technology, just like blockchain's very real technology. It gets hyped in the beginning, and basically everybody's thinking, oh, this is going to be fully autonomous driving in a few years. And no, it's not. It's going to be semi-autonomous driving. And it is being rolled out because the cost of a lot of these systems, LiDAR systems and radar systems and visioning systems in the cars, are coming down. Plus, automakers see the benefit of this, as does the federal government.
So what's interesting is that a lot of the time, semi-autonomous and autonomous driving, I feel like, is really tied to 5G, but we don't have widespread 5G right now, but there's still semi-autonomous vehicles.
Yeah, because right now it's isolated to the vehicle itself. There's a lot of pilot programs around the country going on with vehicle-to-infrastructure communications, which is what we really need to make this a fully capable autonomous driving experience for Americans. And that allows you to talk to roadside infrastructure, traffic lights. That's something they're testing a lot of.
Yeah.
Audi, in fact, came out with a vehicle, a pilot for many of their vehicles, technology that allows it to talk to these traffic lights and basically tell you when it's going to turn green. So if you can imagine, what the end game here is that you eventually wouldn't need lights. You could come to an intersection and your cars would be perfectly timed to mesh through that intersection without ever stopping.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so... It almost sounds futuristic. Well, it obviously is futuristic, but it feels like it should be in a movie about what the future looks like.
Absolutely.
But it's going to be a reality. I don't know if I like that. I think it's going to take a long time for me to get used to not driving my car.
Right. I mean, can you imagine approaching an intersection? I guess eventually, once you become comfortable with it, you won't even think about it. But at first, I think I'd be a little nervous approaching an intersection without lights.
I mean, I sit in the passenger seat of some cars when other people are driving, and I'm slamming on the imaginary brakes. So I can imagine being in an autonomous vehicle.
Like my wife, a backseat driver. I'm not in the backseat.
The other thing, too, to think about is, damn, that cloud computing has to be fast.
Oh, yeah.
For all those cars. Like, if you think about it, if, autonomous vehicles, became widespread and everyone used it and the infrastructure was there, that's a lot of cars.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cars that are going to have to communicate with each other. So I think definitely, bandwidth and all that is going to play a big part, especially with 5G. I have a clip here. Me and Michael Simon from PC World, we actually went out and tested out actual 5G speeds. Let me pull it up real quick.
Okay.
And you can actually see this is a phone we got to use. And just watch that needle. So that's download.
Wow.
And you're going to see upload in just a second once that finishes. But, with 5G, with all the cars communicating with each other in the cloud, this is going to make it much more practical.
It's like my amplifier. It goes to 11.
Right.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I like it.
So, anyways, that just gives a little perspective, about, the connectivity that, we're going to have once autonomous vehicles rolls out, widespread.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all Wi-Fi communications when you're talking vehicle to infrastructure and vehicle to vehicle. So your car is talking to mine. My car can predict when you're going to make a lane change. When you put your turn signal on, it's going to tell my car, oh, this car wants to make a lane change or wants to exit the highway. All useful information when you're trying to control traffic and keep people from getting into accidents. And some studies show that autonomous vehicle technology can save as many as 21,000 lives a year by 2035, I think it was.
Jeez.
That's interesting because I feel like how it sort of stands now, public perception is that there's no way technology can be smarter than a human driver. But if anyone has driven in Massachusetts, they would know that perhaps that could be the opposite case.
Yeah, my calculator is smarter than I am. So it's not that I'm putting all my trust in this technology, but after it's been proven out, obviously, like any technology, we come to rely on it. It's going to have, there's going to be a period where this technology is going to have to be tested. And unfortunately, during that period, you're going to have drivers who are going to put too much faith in this technology. We've already seen deaths from this technology rolled out in Teslas, for example.
I think, too, I would imagine that once we have fully autonomous vehicles, which I said earlier, 2020 is supposed to be a hallmark year for 5G. Autonomous driving, not in 2020.
Not so much, yeah.
But I think it kind of is interesting that I would imagine that once the car is a much safer and frankly probably better driver than actual people, I would imagine that traffic is a lot more predictable, and probably I would think a lot of highways and things would run smoother. I'm picturing not as much slamming on the brakes.
The vast majority of traffic jams, this is just a fact, is caused by people who tap the brakes while they're driving on the highway, and it creates this ripple effect.
That's true.
That go, because how many times you've been driving on the highway and you're like, there's no road work. What is causing this traffic jam right now?
All the time.
Overcapacity, but a lot of times it's just people tapping their brakes, and it creates that ripple effect that then creates a bottleneck.
Yeah, I find that always happens, and then I get out of the traffic, and there wasn't anything there.
No.
It wasn't even an exit. It's not like there was a crash. There wasn't a police officer.
No.
It was just people being slow.
Yeah, exactly. It's people being overly cautious, not giving enough room between the car in front of them and themselves. And truck drivers will tell you, you need to keep a certain distance. If you do that, then you're not going to have to be slamming on your brakes every 10 seconds when the car in front of you slows down. So that helps. But we're not going to program that into human beings, but we can program that into autonomous driving technology like adaptive cruise control, for instance.
That's interesting. Something I also actually heard maybe a few days ago on NPR, actually, they had a segment on the Marketplace Tech program, and they mentioned that Amazon just made a huge investment in autonomous or semi-autonomous vehicles, and they basically invested a ton of money and in a company that will make autonomous delivery trucks.
Yeah.
Which I can imagine when 5G rolls out in big cities would completely change the way that your packages get delivered.
Absolutely. I was writing about that 4 or 5 years ago when there were trucks being piloted with autonomous driving technology on board. I mean, the safety, the ability to track them more accurately, be able to predict when packages are going to arrive, supply chain technology, it all fits into it. Let's see. So you've got one of the things that has enabled this technology to be rolled out in more automobiles, because now you're seeing it in almost virtually all car companies are enabling at least some form of semi-autonomous driving or semi-autonomous technology in their vehicles, like lane keeping and like brake assistance and adaptive cruise control. And a lot of this is coming out as standard as well, is because the price of the technology is coming down. So you've got Delphi and other big parts manufacturers coming out with LiDAR detection technology. And what LiDAR does, it's light detection and ranging. It paints a picture. It uses lasers to paint a picture of the surrounding environment up to, I think in some cases, more than 30 meters away. So it's telling the computer in your car, this is what the scenery, this is what the scene around my car, the objects around my car look like. And then the car can use that to process how it drives, how it maintains itself on the road.
I think the fact, I actually just had a rental car a few weeks ago. I had to have a rental, and it was like a brand new 2019 Infiniti, and they had in there some sort of driver assist. And first of all, too scared to touch it because it was a rental car. But I was so floored by the fact that it's so commonplace, and my car's not even that old, but I don't have that. I'm so looking forward to, I think the adaptive cruise control is one of the things I'm looking forward to on my next vehicle, because
right now I put on cruise control, and that's great, but the flow of traffic is constantly changing. So I'm turning it off, putting it back on, turning it off, putting it back on. You don't get to use it as much as you'd like. If it's adaptive, you can put it on and forget it. And then you're not tapping your brakes all the time. Think of what that's going to do for the flow of traffic.
That's a good point, because I do the same thing, especially when I'm driving long distances. I just set cruise control and go. Man,
I got to get rid of my old jalopy. I got to get some new car. I got to upgrade. One other thing I want to ask real quick, and this is kind of a good question, and I didn't think about this until I saw a comment actually from Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan actually asked this question. Will self-driving cars eliminate DUIs? And that brings up that, can of worms. What do we think autonomous cars is going to do to driving laws? I mean, then you have a whole question about liability, insurance, and all that. What do you guys think?
Well, I actually wrote about this several years ago, especially in terms of insurance, and because the question then becomes who's responsible for the accident.
Right, of course.
Is it the technology? Is it the vehicle manufacturer? If this is vehicle infrastructure, was there some sort of a glitch there that makes the government responsible? Or is it the driver because they weren't paying attention? Today, a lot of it's going to fall on the driver's shoulders because it's semi-autonomous. You are required to keep your hands on the wheel. And we know everybody does that, right, Chris?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nobody would ever sit in the passenger seat or read a book. Or
I mean, check this out. Right, let me just cut to our screen here. If we just look at this video right here, I mean, you just type in self-driving cars.
You see
on YouTube,
them all the time.
See motorists play, read, and relax. So you have these people playing like chess, like as they're driving. You see them playing games, and I'm like, I just feel like
just roll your eyes.
Autonomous vehicles, great. But it's kind of scary.
Not a brain. I mean, this is sophisticated technology, and these people are acting as if they understand it so well and trust it. So they've dealt with it for so long. Oh, yeah. I just trust this implicitly. Oh, Tesla built this car. I trust it because it's Tesla. You don't know anything about this vehicle other than you bought it, and you've read something in the owner's manual or some article online. But other than that, you're blindly trusting this technology. I would never do that. I can't even imagine doing it. It blows my mind.
No, that's scary. But actually, back to sort of how autonomous vehicles will change driving laws. I think it would be interesting to think about how it's going to change, like speed limits, for example.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, as it is, no one's following the speed limit. So I feel like it could go either way. In that autonomous vehicles, there's going to be some sort of mandate, a regulatory mandate that they have to follow the speed limit or go, no more than 5 miles per hour over the speed limit when they're passing a car. Or speed limits can just sort of become irrelevant because all the cars are talking to each other.
Yeah, I'm seeing an iRobot scenario here where the cars are traveling at 200 miles an hour. And
I was just going to say that. It reminds me exactly of iRobot. That scene when Will Smith takes his hands off the wheel and the woman's like, "Oh, you sure you want to do that?"
Yeah.
Because you're going like 200 miles per hour, and the only way...
Well, it's the other way around. He puts it on manual control.
Oh, right.
And she flips out because she's like, you can't possibly drive this car at this speed.
Right, because, I mean, really, a machine can really only do that. You make one tiny little, like, you're dead.
You're dead. So, no, I totally see that happening where the speed limits will be able to increase because computers will be able to, their reaction times will be vastly faster than humans.
So I want to maybe shift the conversation a little bit. We're sort of talking about, our ideal perfect scenario, which, like I said, years and years away.
Hovercraft.
Yeah, perfect. But I want to talk maybe a little more realistic. Like, what do you think we can expect to see in terms of semi-autonomous driving in 2020, and how will sort of 5G facilitate that change?
Sure. I think, did I mention that Audi had a test vehicle, several of the test vehicles, using Wi-Fi to talk to traffic lights? Did I mention that? I can't remember.
I believe so. In the beginning.
Anyways, so you're going to see more of that. You're going to see more vehicle infrastructure coming out, pilots coming out, where your vehicle is going to be able to tell you when that light's going to turn green. So you're sitting at a light. I don't know what you're doing while you're sitting at the light, but you know you have 3 seconds now before that light turns green. So you wake up and look around, not just sleeping, but let's say you're not paying attention. You don't have to get the guy behind you honking at you because you're still sitting at a green light. But eventually that's going to turn into, like I said, not even having to stop at an intersection. That's not happening in 2020. What is happening that's going to be important is a lot of this autonomous vehicle technology for safety purposes. So automated braking, most of the major car manufacturers have committed to having that in place. I think it's by 2020. I might be wrong. It might be 2021. I was really happy to see that because that's huge. You know, automatic braking technology keeps you from rear-ending the car that slams on its brakes in front of you. And it's a lot like anti-lock brakes, but better. So I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see more lane-changing technology. This stuff's going to become standardized on cars so that you already know as you're driving along, you see those little lights on the side view mirrors that pop on as you're passing them. Well, that's, in a sense, that's the same thing. It's a sensor that's using radar to detect your car's presence next to it. All you got to do then is hook that into the central computer system in the car, which then tells you, I can't change lanes right now. I will not let you change lanes right now because there's a vehicle next to you. That's the next logical step. So it's already being deployed in a lot of vehicles, at least the detection systems. Now it needs to get tied into the central nervous system of the car.
That's also really, back to my rental that I had. I'm very happy to have my own car back, frankly. But it had something, it wasn't lane assist, but exactly. If I turned on the turn signal, it would start beeping if a car was in my blind spot.
Exactly.
And it was crazy nice, but it does seem like a natural next step.
It's brilliant technology, and it just follows that you're going to want to deploy this. It doesn't have to be perfect unless you're allowing the vehicle to do all the driving.
Right.
What it does is it alerts you to the possibility that there's a danger next to you, in front of you, behind you, whatever, and backing up, all that stuff. I have yet to test parallel parking automation.
I was about to say
heck no.
Have you done? I want to try that. I'm a pretty good parallel parker too.
No, I can't trust. I don't know.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean but that's all sensor technology, and that's handing over control again to the central computer system in your car.
At the very least, I would love if the car could tell me when I'm supposed to be cutting hard, because I've watched people parallel. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Because I have to parallel park on my street, and I watch people parallel park, and I just want to tell them to start cutting, cut the other way, go.
Right.
So that would, at the very least, that would be nice.
Yeah,
you don't have to do it for me. I mean, you could.
Yeah, it's. I remember this in I never took driver's ed, but I think everybody else had to. I never did. But I remember being taught by my mother that as you back your car up, as you hit the halfway point on your car, that's when you cut it hard to go into the space, and then as your front end is clearing the rear end of the car in front of you, then you cut it back, and almost every time I get this perfect parallel park.
Oh yeah,
about a foot from the car.
I've gotten very good at it living in the city, but
anyways,
you should teach driving ed.
Oh my goodness! Look, first of all, I would have a ruler, and every time a person didn't use their turn signal, I'd crack them on the knuckles. It's a little lever next to the steering wheel. It doesn't.
Right.
What, are you going to break your arm lifting your finger to turn it on? I'm like,
right. Have you seen that parody video a cop made about this brand new tech that cars have?
No, I haven't seen it. Is it turn signals?
Yeah, it's a turn signal. It's
it just blows my mind. Or the ones that go into the turn and then go, I think I'll use this as I'm turning the car. And I'm like, no, it's not an afterthought. You're supposed to be telling the people around you that you're going to turn. Anyways,
autonomous vehicles will have turn signals.
Oh, I hope. They'll connect
or
to
they
your
won't
brain.
matter because we won't be driving the car.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm sorry. It's one of my pet peeves. That and people running red lights through intersections. Like, I'm more important than you, and I'm going to clog this intersection because, darn it all, I deserve it. I'm sorry.
Also will be solved.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Lucas, for joining us.
Sure. Love to.
Lending your knowledge and a little bit of your driver's ed.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for watching this episode of Tech Talk. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Let me know in the comments, how do you feel about autonomous and semi-autonomous vehicles? How soon until you trust them on the road? I don't know if I do right now. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.